Woo! We just got back from watching the movie Him, starring Marlon Wayans, as well as Tyriq Withers, who I have not heard of before this movie. Have you heard of Tyriq Withers before?
Nope.
Obviously, I've heard of Jordan Peele, who produced this film, directed by Justin Tipping, who was one of the writers as well, alongside Zach Akers and Skip Bronke. A lot of names outside of Marlon Wayans I am not familiar with, if I'm being totally honest.
Same.
Give us a short brief of what happens in the movie. What's the
Of
premise?
the film itself?
Yeah.
Okay. Marlon Wayans is considered the great.
The GOAT.
Football-wise, the GOAT. Cameron, Tyriq Withers, is possibly the successor, the next big thing. It's kind of the passing of the torch. In a roundabout way, he has to prove himself.
Okay, there you go.
Right?
So yeah, Tyriq Withers, from a young age, looks up to Marlon Wayans, who plays Isaiah White. He is taught, this is what a man does. That's a man. From the time he's a little kid all the way till the time he's a grown-up, he's an aspiring football player. He gets the opportunity to prove himself in front of Isaiah White.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
I just took what you said and reworded it.
That's pretty much it.
This is a non-spoiler, by the way. One of the things that got me really excited was the fact that it's Jordan Peele. He's had more hits than not for me. I really enjoyed Get Out, obviously, and I really enjoyed Nope. Us was cool. I didn't love Us. I liked it. Him being behind this project, even though he's not directing, I'm like, this seems cool. The biggest thing, honestly, that got me excited was Marlon Wayans, because I've seen him do some serious acting before. In Requiem for a Dream, he can really bring it when he wants to bring it. Obviously, I grew up watching him in the Wayans Brothers show.
Oh, yeah.
But like, he had some really strong acting chops in Requiem. Seeing what he did in The Ad, I'm like, I think he can do it. And so he delivered exactly what I wanted when I walked into that theater. I wanted to see Marlon Wayans do an amazing performance, and that he did. You know, I'm watching it, I'm going, I wonder if he could get an Oscar nomination off of something like this.
Dude, there was a point in there where I was thinking exactly the same thing. I know he's going to get accolades for this. He was probably my favorite part of the movie.
Yes, absolutely.
He was really, and Tyriq did a great job too. Considering I've never heard of him or seen him in anything that I can think of, but Marlon Wayans, man, he had some intense scenes.
Yeah, because he had a lot of varying levels throughout the film, and you were never sure quite what he was going to do. His performance actually reminded me so much of J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. You always had to be on your toes just because you weren't sure how he was going to react to something, how he was going to behave, how he was going to, like, what he was going to hit you with next, what kind of test he was going to do. You know, in the movie Whiplash, there's a scene where J.K. Simmons tells Miles Teller, be here at 7 a.m. or something. Miles Teller is running a little bit late. He ass hauls across campus to get there in time, and no one's there for several hours. It was just a test to mess with him. And, you know, I'm expecting that to happen all the time in this film. There was like weird, trippy stuff throughout the movie, as indicated by the trailer. And our main character does get tested throughout the film. And so I just want to say once again, like, Marlon Wayans is like single-handedly the best reason for me to watch this movie.
I'm with you. He was my favorite part of the movie. If you watch the trailer, which I remember seeing the trailer before we went to see it, the trailer does a good job of showing the movie.
Without giving it away?
Without giving it away, because I knew almost as much watching the film as I did watching the trailer until it started to wrap up.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
It was well shot, I thought. Very well done. I mean, the music was great. Yeah, it was interesting.
Okay.
It was interesting.
It's so hard to talk about a film like this without giving anything away.
It's really hard.
Part of the issue is that there's only so much you can talk about before you give up what happens in the story. There's not a lot in the way of surprises beyond, you know, what's revealed in the commercial in terms of just like how the story unfolds. It's just kind of more of what you're shown in the ad, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, whoever cut the trailer did a good job of getting the idea of the movie across in the trailer, because I felt like I wasn't surprised by how the movie was going from watching the trailer, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It was the same tone. The movie did take its time getting to where it needed to go. I will say that.
Yeah.
The pacing of it.
Have you seen Mother by Aronofsky?
Yes.
Okay.
With
Jennifer
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Yes, I did watch
so there was a certain point in the film where I was watching it going, this might be the most intense film I've seen since Mother. I was like legit feeling that at a certain point, and a lot of that had to do with camera angles, the sort of trippy effects they were doing visually. A lot of camera angles were like super, super tight, and it was almost claustrophobic sometimes how they were going about taking you through this person's journey, the editing. It was this sense of like almost being aloof, but also claustrophobically tight at the same time. It was the weirdest cross-pollination of those two feelings throughout the film because I didn't feel like intrinsically connected to anything, so I felt afar from it, but I also felt like everything was very tight sometimes, and I wasn't sure where anything was headed at any point. I wasn't sure what was real throughout the entire movie.
I felt like that too. There were many parts of the film where I wasn't sure if that was the reality of what was going on or not. I will say also about going back to Marlon Wayans, the way that he played that character in the fact that, you, as you mentioned, you couldn't tell what was going to happen next. To me, those are my favorite kinds of villains or characters. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are the scariest ones. The ones that are overtly just scary, just all the time, or aggressive or anything or something like that. I mean, they're scary, but you kind of expect it. But the way he played his character, one moment was fine, and the other moment, when he would just kind of get really intense, to me that made it way more scary because you didn't know what to expect, and it was almost like a jump scare even. Yeah,
you just weren't sure what he was thinking moment to moment, and there was like lots of hills and valleys throughout his performance where he would get really quiet and intimate and in your face, and then there was moments that he felt like a father figure in a way, much like J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. Like you just weren't sure what to expect with this dude who is someone the main character has idolized his entire life. There's a lot of symbolism in this movie and a lot of allusions, so many like things that are sort of referenced that kind of borrow on from your already understanding of certain things outside of the film. You know, like when you watch Sinners, it kind of walks you through a lot of the rules. You know, it walks you through a lot of ideas, even stuff that you're supposed to be familiar with already just from lore of vampirism and stuff like that. I'm not saying vampires, by the way. I'm just saying for Sinners specifically. It walks you through all of that. Here, there's like a lack of hand-holding that happens in this film. Part of me was lost. Short of it.
I feel, and we mentioned when we came out of the theater that we kind of almost feel like there were some things that we're supposed to get right away that we didn't get right away, which kind of it made me feel kind of dumb. Like, am I supposed to get that? I think you really have to pay attention. I could have used a little bit of hand-holding.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit of direction as to... The thing is, you know, I got into the middle of the movie and I'm like, I don't know what I want at this point. I'm not sure what I want for this character. I don't know exactly what I'm hoping will happen. I'm just watching stuff unfold. And when I have that kind of feeling, it's not a positive one. It's very metaphorical. You get through the journey and you're like, okay, there's a lot of metaphors going on here and a lot of messaging going on. And if you're not open to thinking about it and talking about it, it's going to go over your head and you're going to be annoyed. I'm definitely open to symbolism. I've watched the Matrix movies so many times, even though the latter two movies are nowhere near as good as the first one. I unpack those movies like crazy. And this movie has things that people are going to discuss that are worth unpacking, that are talking about stuff in society and whatnot. I'm like, this is definitely interesting stuff. It's just not as cleanly executed as stuff like Get Out. Period.
Right. Yes. In Get Out, it was very clear to me as the movie was going along. Whereas this, I had to think back, am I right about this? Am I wrong about this? The movie was very symbolic. The entire film was a symbol of some sort. Sure. I will say, I enjoyed the wrap-up. I'm trying not to say anything, man. Off that subject, Tyriq, he did a really good job, and the reason I go back to that is because I don't want to forget before I say it. When we mentioned about Marlon just a second ago about him being unpredictable, there were points in Tyriq's character, Cameron, where I felt that same way. He was built up to be the predecessor, right?
The successor.
Excuse me, yes. The successor to Marlon Wayans' character. We see hints of him being also unpredictable at times.
Right.
Which I thought this actor did a really good job of that, too.
Yeah. I think my biggest issue with the movie is that I just didn't know what I wanted for Cameron at, halfway through the film. And his behavior at a certain point was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this. I guess it's the environment, and that's why he's behaving this way. So I'm trying to make excuses for his character at a certain point, and I'm just like, I just don't know what I'm rooting for, when I get to a certain point in the story, and it's doing some things that are just kind of going over my head, and I know that it's saying something important. I just don't know if I care is what it came down to.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely a strong message throughout the film, but at times I'm trying to figure out the exact message.
Right. So one comedian that I love to watch is Jim Jeffries, and he plays the doctor in this movie. He doesn't have the fondest opinion of actors, which is hilarious to me. And so watching his performance in here, I'm like, Jim Jeffries is actually stupid good.
He was good.
He's like, he really fits the movie very well because films like this often have like very unexpected offbeat humor.
Yeah.
And he delivers it exceptionally. He does such a good job and does nicely playing off of Marlon Wayans and whatnot and just the environment. And I don't know if like how Justin Tipping directed him or if it was choices that Jim Jeffries was making, but like there were moments where he would sit and you could see something's going on with him and I'm like, what is he thinking? Like, I'm so curious. What are you thinking about?
It was subtle acting that was done really well.
Yeah. And it's like, it's one of those things where like, you don't even need to do that much. Don Cheadle talked about how when he was working with Paul Thomas Anderson, right? And I forgot where I said this, but Paul Thomas Anderson goes, I need you to something, like I need you to be thinking about like why this money is important to you, blah, 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 blah. Like he broke it down in extensive detail for Don Cheadle. And Don Cheadle goes, okay. And so Don Cheadle sits there trying to figure out like how to perform what Paul Thomas Anderson wants. And Paul Thomas Anderson goes, cut. And we got it. And Don Cheadle's like, what? And so sometimes you don't even need to try and it's just there. Yeah. And I felt like he was effortlessly giving me that discomfort of like the guy who knows, but he can't tell you.
Yes, you're right. I don't know how to expand on that.
Yeah, no, you can't. No, you can't. Sorry.
Yeah. Suffice to say, the acting performances were excellent. Even Marlon Wayans' wife, I really liked her character throughout the film.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say that's maybe not positive is just it took me a while to catch things, and I'm still not sure by the end of the film if I caught everything I was supposed to catch. Mm-hmm. You know, so I felt a little dumb.
Yeah.
Like, or I just felt like I missed, because I know I paid attention, I thought.
It's one of those things where I'm watching it and I'm like, I want to love this. That's my feeling. Like, I want to really like this. Yeah. And at the end, I'm like, that was all right. It was cool. It just doesn't, for me, it doesn't come within breathing distance of what I got out of Get Out or even Nope, you know, or other films that are having a message, you know? And it's like, I can see what they were doing, and at times it was very visually stimulating, but it was so caught up in the visual spectacle that it forgot to make sure that I care.
I understand.
Yeah.
Because there were some things that visually were very cool. Some of the effects that they did to show certain things, you know, without saying it, they were just done really cool, very well.
Yeah.
And the music, I thought, was woven in there very nicely. You know what I mean? You really felt the music. And it seemed, even the end credits song, I was listening to the words, and I was like, oh, I got to get a little more than I did before. So that was all really good. But yeah, it did lose me in some places.
The music was definitely a huge component in the movie. It's like, it almost had wall-to-wall excellent sound design. Like, the sound design was a huge part of it. I'm a huge fan of, like, really good sound design. Because, like, sound is such a powerful tool when it comes to movies. I think it doesn't get enough credit. If you do sound design well, you won't even notice that you're so fucking immersed in what you're watching. Yeah. And it takes over, you know? And so they did a really good job. It didn't do enough to carry me into the realm of loving the movie. But like, it definitely did a great job of keeping me hooked into what's going on and wondering where things were going next.
Yeah, to me, if I were to split the scenes up, split it up from a whole movie, I could say that this particular part of the film was excellent.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
As altogether, though, I felt a little lost. In addition to the sound design being good, you know what else was good was the silence. The use of silence in certain scenes was really good. And there was some scenes near the beginning where it made me jump a bit.
Yeah.
And the silence and the build-up towards that, I thought was done very, very creepy and very well.
Yeah. I think that more than anything, I kind of wish I connected with the main character better. It was sort of taking the approach of something like The Matrix, or as Achara and I like to call it, like the Ryan Gosling effect, of where you're sort of just, you know, projecting onto the character you're feeling. And it's when the character's doing questionable behavior that I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take from that. Am I supposed to be like, well, what would I do in that moment? Is it a groupthink mentality? Like, what am I supposed to get out of that? Because he's doing stuff I don't like and stuff that I wouldn't necessarily do. So I'm very confused. When I'm watching The Matrix, for the most part, when I'm watching Ryan Gosling, I'm dialed in and I understand, and I'm sort of like in uniform with what's going on with this character. Like when Neo decides, I'm gonna go back into the Matrix to get Morpheus, I'm right there with him. You know, it all makes sense to me. When this character is deviating from what I would I guess call like the hero vibe mentality, I'm just like, okay, where's this going? Like, what are we doing with this? You know what I mean? I'm just confused.
I know what you mean. I think, for what I got, is he had an internal struggle going on.
It seemed like that, but then at a certain point, it seemed like, no, you didn't. You know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it sometimes it didn't feel that way. So sometimes it did, and sometimes it didn't. So yeah, that's where it kind of could be a little bit confusing. I guess.
That was my biggest thing, is just like I wanted to connect with the main character more. Like he did a good job. He did a really good job in terms of the material, the assignment he was handed. Like I thought he did an excellent job. Being an unknown actor, I'm like, I would hire him. Like I think he's really good.
Oh, he killed it.
Yeah, he's a tall, handsome dude that can act his ass off. And so like I bought into him in this reality that they were making. It wasn't his fault, in my opinion, that I didn't connect with him better. I think that's just the way the story was told. And so when the movie was over, I'd say about 20% of the audience was clapping. The rest was like, huh?
They were still trying to figure it out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it was definitely an experience, and it's an experience that will likely stay with you. And there might be things that my brain unpacks subconsciously later on, where I'm like, oh, and as Achara likes to call it, the pennies will drop later on. And I'm like, okay, that's what that director was trying to do. Yeah. And it'll connect with me a little bit better. Maybe if I watch it again.
Maybe on a second watch.
On a second viewing, I'll be like, okay, gotcha. Now I'm connecting the dots a little more. Now I'm catching things I didn't catch before. But as it sits right now, the movie was all right. And I don't have any inclination to watch it a second time. So I feel like, though, this could develop a cult following, and it could develop a following of people who are like, no, y'all just didn't get it because of this. Absolutely. I totally understand. There are lots of things I didn't get, and there are plenty of reasons to appreciate it. It's just that, like, for me, movies are supposed to be like a story experience, and for me, I didn't connect with the story very well. That's the short of it.
Yeah, I understand. I felt the same way. Artistically, it was great. Yeah, but as far as the story goes, maybe there's ways that they could have done it a little bit better for me to understanding it without, because sometimes I was trying to figure out what happened and we're already to the next thing. And so I felt a little left, and then I was trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have been done in a way that would appeal to someone like me who didn't get it right away. You know what I mean?
There was also like questions I had, and I'm like, I don't feel like I got my answers at all. Like it's alluding to stuff, but it's not being very clear. It's leaving a lot for me to decide. And when you have too much that the audience is supposed to determine, I get very frustrated with the film director. I'm just like, no. If you want to leave me with did Leonardo DiCaprio leave his dream or not? One question, okay, fine, I can deal with that. But you got like a lot of questions in here, and I'm like, that's too many questions for me to handle on my own. Like you give me one or two, that's it. Like this is too many questions, you know?
Yeah. There was a lot left open. You know, when you look back and you wonder how much of it was a certain way or not.
Yeah. You guys, thanks so much for hanging with us. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. I look forward to hearing your guys' response to the film. I'm hoping that when y'all watch it, you love the movie. I just want that to be abundantly clear. Like I go into a movie wanting to love it. And I hope that most of you guys who watch the film are able to educate me and tell me what I missed, and give me like a new perspective on that experience. Because I look forward to that. I look forward to that discussion. But like as it stands, the movie's all right. But I do recommend it just because it's a visual spectacle. It's very interesting.
Should check it out.
Yeah, and there's definitely like things to like talk about and munch on mentally later on. So y'all be good. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Brandon SHEALY.
Peace out.